6:30. I've got something big that I'm planning. I need some headspace and I want to come back refreshed. Coffee, let's get it finished, let's get out of there. Checked in, no travel restrictions now, just go, 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 go. That is the next plan. How am I going to make that in that amount of time? Now look, this isn't to say that I'm going to be a millionaire and I want you all to say, hey, look at me. No, not at all. This is about having ambition. This is about driving yourself forward. And you know what? Setting a goal. I said it in Hanoi that I'd become lazy, that I'd become complacent. And Saigon, it's been like 2-3 weeks now. It's been amazing. Like, it has just changed my environment, changed everything. And my mindset has been like, we've gone from 2022 to 35, and I'm really happy with that. But I'm like, what are we doing? What are my team is doing? You know, my team, my Amazon business, every week we meet, we do the same things. And I'm like, where are we going? What's the goal? Is the achievement you just come to work? For me, it was 7 figures. In 1 year, that is going to be a challenge, roughly 7 figures. And hey, let me get my calculator out. Divided by 12, £83,333 every single month for 12 months, and I'm going to hit £1 million. So if we were going to say aim for 100,000 in a month, you know, some bad months and some good months, that's pretty much going to hit you 7 figures. That's next leveling my game, and I'm going to go through so many challenges. Whoa. A little bit windy up here. I'm going to go through so many challenges during that journey. I think it'd be really good to just document it and talk about it and to share it, do content on it. At the moment, I really enjoy making YouTube content, and I like sharing, don't get me wrong, but I think when I start putting scrutiny on certain parts of my business and I have to create content around it and I have to create training guides for my team, that is going to add so much more value. Let's talk it through. What I want to do first things first is I want to give you a breakdown of where my business is at right now. I'll give you a very rough P&L of how much profit I make where I work. Then we'll do the calculations to say, where do I need to be if everything gets reinvested, and where is it going to look at the moment, and what more do I need to do? And after that is to say, actually, what areas can we look at and improving? And you know what? Throughout this entire journey, I want your help. Tell me what you think, where you would do it differently. And you know what? I'm not an expert. I have met so many people who are doing 6 figures a month already, and they know so much more than me. I want that advice. I want that feedback. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Even if you're not sure, like even if you think that sounds like a good plan, but I don't know about this part, I want your feedback and I want to document this journey. Let's do this. First things first, people talk about is, let's just talk about my business. Profit-wise. Now, this is what everyone wants to know. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't make much profit, and I'm not too fussed about that. I make enough money that I'm happy with. I want to live the life that I want to live. If I wanted to make hugely profitable business, do you know what I would do? I would go back to the UK, go to retail arbitrage, and I'd just scale the hell out of that. But I'm not interested. I'm more interested in making enough money so I can enjoy my life. And you know what? Right now, I don't need that much money. Let's start drawing what's happening. So P and L, profit and loss. Now, let's talk about revenue. Everyone talks about this is what we talk about. And I've already shared with you 35 grand, what we did last month. Revenue, 35,000 pounds I've done in my Amazon business last month. I'm not gonna lie, my GP on that isn't huge. I'm making about £4,500 gross profit. So after the cost of the goods sold, the prep fees, everything else, £4,500. GP equals 4.5K. And that includes prep and then like shipping. After the cost of goods, everything related to the cost of sale is about 4.5K. My God, there's just this really annoying fly. Go away, go away. Next thing is costs in my business. So VAs, I spend about 1.5 thousand a month on VAs. That is their bonuses and what they're doing. And then on top of that, I have other costs. Accounting costs, I have some software that I run custom built. I also have, FBA multi-tool, Repricer Express. They're the kind of tools I use. They cost me about £500. My total costs roughly sum up to 2,000, and my GP is about 4.5. My net profit, 2.5K per month. My net margin, 7%. I roughly run about 7%. So I'm taking 2.5 divided by 35. So every like £1 in sales I make, I actually take home 7p, which doesn't seem like much, but you've got to think I'm putting in 50p to make £1 worth of sales, and I get 7p back from it. The only other thing I kind of add to that is cash back, because I don't include that in my calculations, but we're pretty much tracking about £1,000 a month on average. Sometimes more, sometimes a bit under, it's not a problem. So if we do cash back, that equals 1k. Now, total profit equals, wait for it, 3.5k, roughly 10% net margin. It's good, but I think it's quite important just to understand that. So number one, running about a 10% net margin, and we're talking about 3.5k. Well, Tom's payroll for me, how much I need in Vietnam, isn't huge. I take home 1.5k, and that leaves £2,000 is how much I reinvest in my business on average every single month. That is it. It's not huge, but it talks you through the first stage. So there's two parts: profit, the business, and then the team. Straight away, we've got a purchasing manager. Now underneath him, 2 VAs. Cool. And then also as well, part-time admin. Really simple. So the question comes is like, what do they do? Just open it up. We're doing suppliers, OA, and I'll put it out here in blue, just go over that. We have been doing a bit of that stupid sourcing, whereby it's just like next deal, next deal, next deal, next deal, and you're like, it doesn't really work. Oh, I should just add, we do have a deal sheet on there as well. We do a deal source, so that kind of works as well. So look, if sales less than 50 a month, we're not interested. So more than 50 sales a month we're looking at. You know, we still buy some of these small products, but it's a lot of small administration, which is labor. It doesn't help scaling. You've got to think there's a reason why big companies buy massive bulk and they don't really bother with the little bits, or they might do because they're completely automated. It's just about getting that money and investing it. So for me, I think I can make a real improvement in sourcing more products with, number one, better volume. Number two, I want to work with bulk buy. I want to bulk buy from different suppliers. I can spend £5,000 on one order and I can just shift that money, that's fine. And if it's a high volume item, super happy with that. Bulk buying is going to be key. And then I think even special discounts. When you're spending a lot of money, they're going to give you more discounts, and it's looking for those opportunities, looking for the suppliers who are going to do it and then going back and doing more of that. So once you've built that relationship, it's going to add real value, and then it just becomes a process. Purchasing, obviously we've got to look at things like cashback, maximizing that. And look, I'm just going to throw it out there. Right now, I have 2 times complete savings account. What is to say I cannot get my family? I would offer them like, I'm going to run £200 worth of cashback through your account, complete savings account. You can keep 50 quid a month for doing nothing, but you've got to pay 7.15. Like, could we increase the number of complete savings and ask them to transfer that money to me? Can we get 5 complete savings accounts? My God, there's got to be a lot of friends you've got who would do it for you. And like, you're going to give them a free 50 quid, or maybe give them 100 quid. It's just going to work out better for you. So complete savings, obviously delivery deals. You can only do £1,000, but I'm just going to put it out there. Why not try and max that £1,000 out ASAP and open multiple accounts when they have it thing? So multiple accounts delivery deals. You do £1,000 maximum cashback, and maybe you open an account today and you don't use it for 3 months. It's going to cost you 30 quid. I think they're £10 each. So it's going to be £30 you're going to pay to hold on to it. But in 3 months' time, when you need it, you can then get £1,000 cashback. That's a no-brainer. That's just going to make a big difference. So delivery deals, max, let's see if we can get 5 of them. And then I think ship, I outsource that. I use a company called Easy Logic, Sam, and they're now called Home Outdoor, if you want to know, Easy Logic, and I'm happy with them. They're doing a really good job. And then sale is a super interesting one. Now look, 2 elements I want to think about when we sell. Number one, repricer and automations. I'm all for like manually tweaking your repricer, but when you're doing 10,000 a month, cool, you can do that. You couldn't keep doing that method on 100,000 a month. It just becomes too arduous, and you need to think about the processes which you are doing at 10,000 a month and say, does this process that I'm doing now scale to 1 million? If I was to do 1 million a month, would this work? It's just a system. That's it. You're trying to get your money, invest it in stock, dump it in. What works, cool. What doesn't, you get rid of, move it on. So automations on repricer. And then finally, the other big one, which I really thought about and we haven't done anything on, I think I need to do, PPC. Pay per click. This is going to be the opportunity to increase sales on products that we're selling. We're on the buy box. People talked about it. It's a really good opportunity to do it. High volume items. I think there's a real area that we can look at that and improve. I've seen it on the forums. People have talked about it every now and then, but no one's really dived into it. And I think that's a really good opportunity. So Repricer Express, automations, and also PPC is another area I think we can do. And then suppliers are kind of looking at OA and wholesale, and then replenish, just getting the replenishment system spot on. on really. That's it, just spot on. And that I'm going to put in the sheet that I made called the Ultimate Sourcing Sheet. I'll drop a link down below. But that's where we look at all the suppliers and all what we're buying and reordering. And then finally accounting, look at your P&L. So for me, that is Seller Toolkit and obviously my accountants. And that is it. So that's a rough kind of guide to where we're at. Now, the next bit, I need to show you an Excel sheet. And let's plan out how we might actually do this. First, I want to show you a little bit around here and get you to have a good feel. Okay, so this is the moment of truth. Now, I've given you a breakdown of a rough P&L of where I'm at. Now, this is about planning it out. Now, I'm not saying this is perfect. This is merely an exercise in my head on some Excel sheets. And if you're looking at maybe your revenue, you could probably do something the same. What I'll do is I'll create a copy of this and share a link down below. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start mapping out what we've done so far and then taking that and talking it through and extracting that and basically planning that going forward up to the next 12 months. So let's get on the laptop. Let's make this happen and go from there. So starting off, and what I'm going to do, if you just kind of look, what I've got here is, if I just kind of get this, and can I make it smaller? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so I've kind of pre-built this, and the reason is if I didn't, I'd just make a mess and you'd be here forever. So to start off with, I've just put month. Now, month one is today. We're going to use today's figures, or last month I'm just going to take in. We're going to use those figures, put them in, and then what we're going to do is start extracting, and I'll break down how it works. So straight away, we've got month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc., etc. Now, what I've done here is I've put in 35,000 revenue. I did a little bit more, but 35 is a good figure. GP, now let's just kind of extract this. So we've got £4,500 worth of gross profit. That's what we see. And remember, that's after like prep fees, shipping costs. That's just straight out of Amazon and everything related to that one sale. That's there. So my GP as a percentage, which is really important, is to say that is going to be running as, and I can just drop in percentage, 12.9, 13%. So that's, if we're going to assume that I'm going to maintain that percentage going forward, then we can use that as a baseline. So we have payroll costs, and obviously I'm going to drop them out, 1,500, we talked about that as well. Other costs associated with business, accountancy, software fees, etc., etc. I try and keep it lean, and I'll always challenge that. We've got me, you know what, I'm paying, I take money out of my business, which is like for the amount of work that I do. And then we've got cashback income. So I've put it as a minus because technically right now these are called costs on this section here, but I put it as a minus so well you can see that. So these are costs, and obviously this is kind of like income. So then we've got net profit. So we've got obviously the income, 4,500, minus the payroll, minus the other cost, 2 grand, minus my cost, and then add in an extra £1,000 income. So net profit is £2,000. That means at the end of the month, I'm gonna have £2,000. When we talk about revenue, and I'll just put in there GP is X VAT. So I've already accounted for the VAT in that GP figure. Just when you come in, so that's month one. Now what I'm gonna say is if we get month one net profit and then invest that back into stock, we might see, should we say, half of that money fall into the next month, and then also as well, the following month, half the money might fall in. So it takes about 8 weeks, I say, from the moment you spend a penny to get it back. So I said, take last month's revenue, add in half of what you made profit last month, and then I've just added in for future reference if I'm going to add any extra cash in. So if I was going to like, dump in an extra like 10 grand, for example, here, that's a grand, sorry, that's going to add in a grand roughly. If I spend £2,000, I'd probably expect to make about 4 grand revenue. Now, in this calculation, I'm not doing that. I'm literally saying if I have 2 grand to spend, I'm going to make 2 grand extra. Because while I get the concept of doing £1,000 makes 2 grand extra revenue and then etc., is to say that some things go wrong, and I'm just trying to play it a bit conservatively here. But I'd rather play cautiously than too much. So right now I'm saying 2 grand I'm investing, and that's going to give me last month's revenue plus 50% of that next month, and then again they take the profit from the previous month. So we're going to say, look, then it's 12.9 as a value. So GP is maintaining from £36,000 worth of revenue, we're going to make 6,426. So not much more, grand extra, 100 quid extra, sorry, not much more. And then payroll is going to remain the same, etc., and I'm going to make a little bit more extra net profit. following month, I'm going to take half of the money I invested from profit last month and the remaining half from the previous month. It's to say that typically when we invest £1,000, we're going to get half of that money back within 4 weeks and maybe the other half within 8 weeks. So hence why I'm taking half in one. And let's go up to month 5. If I kind of look to say I'm doing 35 grand revenue, if I keep going through that process, I'm going to keep making more, I get to about 42. Now, interesting enough, the one thing I've done here, I'm probably going to have some increased costs. As you do more revenue, you get more increased costs. So there might be upgrades on software that I've got to do or hire another sourcer. I've not put that in my payroll, but my accountancy fees might go up because I'm now doing more revenue. So it's just something I've got to be really mindful of. So I've put in some extra costs in month 5. So there. Now let's just keep going across and I'll unhide all this again. So we'll go into up to month 9. So again, we're coming through making this money. And exactly, my costs are exactly the same, my payroll costs are exactly the same. And up to month 5, what I've done is I've said now I'm doing 55,000 revenue. So I'm expecting to do up to about 55,000 revenue with my existing setup. And then I'm going to look to hire another sourcer to help support us. So that's going to have another cost, £500 roughly to put in there. You know, it's like payroll costs, support, etc., etc. It might not be £500, but I'm overestimating. Then what we've got is I've also increased my other costs as well by another 250 because I think there's going to be some additional costs. And again, we go from making £3,900 profit up to 3,300 profit, which isn't, you know, we've actually made a reduction even though we've increased revenue. So let's keep going across, and I'm going all the way across now to 13, you know, month 13. And again, what I've done here is I've just increased my other costs. So we're now doing more and more revenue. My accountancy fees go up, you know, because I'm doing more revenue. It's just going to cost me more. You know, certain things are going to have an impact. Month 18, and you can see what I've done is I've taken 2,500 or 2,000, and at month 15, I've increased to another sourcer to get me 2,500, and I've increased my actual cost to 1,500. So I've nearly tripled my costs, and then also as well, you can see my profit. This is the revenue. Now, by month 18, which is December 2021, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, I'm saying I'm going to do about 100K. That's where I want to be. So 18-month revenue is going to be 1.1 million. Now that is great. I'm really happy. And that is the goal, 1 million in 18 months. But you know what? I don't want to do it in 18 months. I don't think that's a big enough challenge. I want to do 1 million in 12 months. And I think that's going to be a bigger challenge. And just using the sheet is going to really help me. Fit here so you can kind of see that, how much profit I'm going to make. In theory, we're not saying it's perfect, we've got to see how it goes. This isn't an exercise into say, I've got X amount of money, I'm going to invest it and do that. This is, I have got every single disposable means at my disposal. I can do whatever I can to get me to that £1 million. And this isn't about restricting what I can do. No, this is about being as resourceful as possible, doing everything I can possibly do to get there as quick as possible. I am not going to limit myself at all. And if anything, I'm going to try and make sure that I can do everything that I want. We're talking about, can I do 1 million in 12 months now, not 18? So let's just quickly do that. We got these revenues here. Now, the one thing I did do is I added in just a C19 part. So any extra value add. Now I'm basically saying if I'm going to add in, like, let's say for example, £1,000 here, when I add in that value, it'll add in some extra sales. I'm going to add an extra £1,000 of cash into my business. You know, think of it, Amazon loan, another loan, maybe another credit card, something's going on. Where is that going to take my business? Well, I can see the impact. Like, my God, £1,000 just added in now in month 3 is going to basically take me from giving me an extra £30,000 over the next 18 months in revenue. So if I'm just going to put it out there, can I drop in, say 5 grand, say 3 grand? Oh, I'm going to be a bit close. 4 grand. 5 grand it's going to need to be. You know, maybe Amazon come back and give me a 20 grand loan. I'm going to be really happy, and I've not put that in yet. If I can put 5 grand in 3 months, I should be in a really good place. There is so much more I can do. I can look at how efficient I am with my cash flow, how quick we're churning. Can I turn it from 8 weeks down to 7? That one change is going to make a massive impact. This is all based off certain assumptions. And what I want to do is save this, come back to it as the journey goes through and see where I am versus it along that journey and see what we can improve and get better, and hopefully hit that 1 million mark in 12 months much quicker. That is a little bit about how I want to try and make that £1,017,723 in revenue. I'm going to be making 8% profit. If I can make £86,000 worth of profit next year in the next 12 months, doing 5 hours a week, let's say increase my hours, then my God, I will take that. And I'm not in this to work like a job. This is a business which I'm trying to run like a business. The money, I think, will come because you do more revenue, banks give you loans, it's going to happen. Whereas working on it full time for me isn't where I want to take my life. But this is about building it on the kind of 4-hour work week style. This is how I think we can do it. So that's it, that's the plan. On the face of it, it doesn't look too challenging. It is, and there's gonna be a lot of change that's gotta happen, a lot of things have gotta go on. But this video is very much about me planning that out, sharing that with you, and it's actually about asking for your opinion, about your feedback. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm making a fortune, I'm not, and you know, my margins aren't as great as a lot of other people, but the one thing you've always just gotta consider is the fact that I really don't work much on my business and it generates cash. And at the end of the day, that's what I value more than making more cash. If I wanted to go make more money, I wouldn't be out here living this life. I would probably go get a job. I wouldn't even start a business, but this is more of a lifestyle business to me. So how can you help me? Well, what I'm looking for is you've watched this video, you've seen how I've broken it down, and hopefully you've got some thoughts on there. So maybe there are like 2 areas that you would focus on, or maybe that I haven't talked about enough that you think I could probably improve upon. Put it down below. What I'd love to do is just look at, take those comments on board, look at those areas in depth, and then maybe analyze my plans. This is the first draft, second draft of what is going to be the next 18 months of my life, and I am excited about this, and this is a big challenge. Hopefully I can do another video in 18 months time and we've smashed it out of the park. But hey, thank you. Oh, coffee. I love coffee.